The Eiffel Tower was built in 1887 and remained the tallest man-made building in the world until 1930. Hello, my name is Henry Kelly, and today I will be teaching you guys about the Eiffel Tower, how it was built, why it's so important, and different historical events that have taken place there. First, let's start off with how the Eiffel Tower was built. It was originally built for the World's Fair of 1899. Gustave Eiffel designed the tower, as you can tell in the name, and his design was chosen over 107 others. The chief engineers at Eiffel's firm were Amélie and Maurice Cullian, and they had the idea for a large tower in 1884. The tower was planned to be 300 meters tall, which was a very bold plan of them. They enlisted the help of architects to make sure that the tower would be visually appealing. Originally, the tower was designed differently than it appears today. They wanted glass walls and stonework over the entire building, but the tower design was simplified in the end. The curve of the uprights are specifically designed to be wind resistant, and the construction of these supports took just under 2 years to complete. 18,000 pieces were used in construction. You may be wondering how all of these pieces are held together. Over 2.5 million rivets were used, which is a little metal rod, and it took 4 men to install each rivet. It only took 5 months to build the foundation, and the Eiffel Tower is considered one of the first examples of modern architecture. New technology was used to build this very fast, including cranes and steam-powered hoists, which had not really been used before this. At the time, it cost $7.8 million to build. Adjusting with inflation in today's money, that is about $80 million. All the iron used in construction was from the east of France, and they used a special type of iron called puddle iron. This is a process in which impure iron is made pure, and because of this, it must be repainted every 7 years. Now that I've talked about the construction of the tower, I would like to discuss why it is so important. The tower is a symbol of French history and culture, and it's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world. The tower was the first of its kind, using wrought iron, and it had a very unique design. It continues to inspire architects of today. The tower has become a symbol of both Paris and France, and after it's been built, it's been included in many movies and TV shows. And every French Independence Day, fireworks are shot off. It was built for the World's Fair in 1899, which makes it very important. Originally, there was some controversy about the tower, but then that controversy ended. Large-scale sporting events are also held around the tower. It is a beacon that stands in the center of the city, and it is lit up until 1 a.m. every night. The lights turn off at 1 to honor victims of tragic events around the world. The tower was also used for scientific experiments, mostly for wireless telegraphy that I will talk about later. That is the only reason that it stayed longer for the planned 20 years is because these experiments were so important. Some interesting facts about the tower are that professional photos can only be taken at night with permission, and this is because the lights on the tower are actually copyrighted. At the start of the building, it was questioned about whether the tower was a work of art or not, and it was quickly determined that it was. Now that I've told you how important the Eiffel Tower is, I would like to discuss historical events that have occurred at the tower. During World War I, the French military used the tower to communicate with troops on the battlefield, and they also used the tower to intercept enemy messages. They even used it one time to identify a spy on the radio, and French officials were then able to track down the spy and catch them. During the next World War, Germany took control of Paris, and Hitler wanted the entire tower to be torn down. He was never able to achieve this. He wanted this tower to be torn down because it's a symbol of French power, and he wanted people to think that the French have no power. French natives even cut the elevator cables in the tower so that if Hitler wanted to place a Nazi flag on top of their tower, he was going to have to walk up all of the stairs. This shows how important the tower was to France that they would do this just to make sure that they could not have a flag put on it. Another thing that happens semi-often at the Eiffel Tower is daredevil acts. In 1889, just after construction was completed, a man walked up 704 flights of stairs, which doesn't sound so hard until I tell you that he was on stilts the whole time. In 1952, trapeze artists swung 400 feet in the air on ropes with no net between them. And in 2010, a man named Nathan Paulin walked 2,198 feet across a rope 200 feet above the ground. The rope was connected between the Eiffel Tower and the Theatre National des Chalets. This happened on French Heritage Day. Now that I've told you all of these things, I would like to wrap up this speech. The Eiffel Tower is one of the most important feats of architecture in history, and it was built in 1889 for the World's Fair, taking just over 2 years to be completed, which was very fast for this time. It has become a symbol of French power and is a very important building. Many important things have happened there, like I mentioned before, including participation in both world wars and crazy daredevil acts. Thank you for your time.